Winning, The Unforgiving Race to Greatness, by Tim S. Grover. Introduction. Imagine this. It's a hot, steamy day in Chicago. The air in the gym is thick with sweat and the sound of squeaking sneakers on polished wood. On the court, a pickup game is underway, but this isn't just any game. This is Michael Jordan's private run. The court is packed with NBA All-Stars, future legends, and hungry rookies, all there for one reason: to test themselves against the greatest of all time. In the middle of a play, a new guy, trying desperately to impress MJ, collapses. He hits the floor, hard. He's foaming at the mouth, convulsing. He'd chugged 5 Red Bulls, and now he's having a seizure. His trainer, a man named Tim Grover, rushes over. He can't find a pulse. He starts CPR, pumping the young man's chest, trying to breathe life back into him while someone calls 911. As Grover is working, fighting to keep this kid from dying on his gym floor, a long shadow falls over him. It's Michael Jordan. Grover, still pumping, looks up and says, "I think he's having a heart attack." Jordan looks down at the scene, his face unreadable, and says, "Evidently." Just then, the young player's eyes flutter open. He slowly sits up, groggy and confused, and sees the face of his idol staring down at him. "You good?" Michael asks. The kid, embarrassed but alive, manages a weak smile. "Yes, sir, I'm good." "Good," Jordan says. He turns to Grover, without missing a beat, and says, "Get a sub. I got a game to win." That story, in all its brutal, unapologetic honesty, is the heart of the book we're going to explore today. It's called Winning, The Unforgiving Race to Greatness, by Tim S. Grover. Grover isn't just an author, he is the legendary trainer who spent 15 years with Michael Jordan and over a decade with Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade. He is the man the greatest competitors in history called when they needed an edge nobody else could give them. This book isn't your typical self-help guide filled with cheerful affirmations and 5 easy steps to success. This book is different. It's a look inside the mind of the most elite achievers on the planet, and it reveals a truth that most of us are taught to ignore: winning isn't always nice. It isn't fair. It is, as the title says, unforgiving. By the end of our time together today, you will understand the raw, unfiltered philosophy that separates the good from the great, and the great from the unstoppable. You'll learn the 13 principles that govern the world of true winners, and you'll be forced to ask yourself a very hard question: are you willing to pay the price? Let's begin. Book summary. Most of us have been taught a certain language around success. It's a language of motivation, of positive thinking, of inspirational quotes. We hear things like "let's do this," or "you got this." We see people on social media announcing that they crushed it or killed it. But Tim Grover tells us that winning has its own language, and it doesn't speak in cliches. It speaks in truths. The first truth is that motivation is for beginners. He calls it entry level, the temporary sugar rush you get from eating too much frosting. It's a powerful feeling, sure, but it wears off, leaving you flat on the floor wondering where all that energy went. Winning, he says, isn't about getting pumped up. It's about a deep, internal drive that doesn't need a motivational speaker to ignite it. The truly great competitors aren't looking for someone to kick them into action. They're already kicking their own ass, and they're ready for more. Grover makes it clear, this is not a book that gives you 10 secret steps to the top. If there were a map, he says, everyone would be up there. But they're not. The path to winning is treacherous and constantly shifting. One moment you see a step, the next it's quicksand. Winning doesn't care if you can walk up the easy steps. It wants to know what you do when the steps disappear, when you have to trust yourself in the dark. So, what does winning really feel like? When Grover asks most people to describe winning in one word, they say things like glorious, euphoric, success, awesome. And those things are true, but they're only one side of the coin. When he asked the greats, the true winners, he got very different answers. Words like uncivilized, hard, nasty, dirty, unforgiving. Kobe Bryant's answer? Just one word: everything. Michael Jordan, in the documentary The Last Dance, gave perhaps the most telling answer of all. With tears welling in his eyes, he talked about how he pushed his teammates, how he challenged them, how some might have seen him as a tyrant. He said, "That's you. Because you never won anything. I wanted to win, but I wanted them to win and be a part of that as well." He was so unapologetic, so raw, that he had to walk away from the camera for a moment to compose himself. This is the core of Grover's philosophy. Winning is glorious, but it's also brutal. It's the torn Achilles tendon that Kobe Bryant refused to leave the court with until he had shot and made 2 free throws. It's the late nights and early mornings, alone in a dark gym, perfecting a single move. It's the pain, the sacrifice, the loneliness that no one else sees. To even begin the race, you have to be willing to be different. And as Grover says in his first principle of winning, winning makes you different, and different scares people. Think about it. If you act like everyone else, think like everyone else, and follow the same path as everyone else, you'll end up like everyone else. Everyone wanted to be like Mike. But Mike didn't want to be like anyone else. When Grover started training Jordan, he proposed something that was unheard of at the time: training on game days. Everyone told him he was crazy. You'll fatigue him, you'll mess up his shot, but Grover and Jordan saw it differently. With a packed schedule of games, travel, and practice, when else was he supposed to train? Their goal wasn't to maintain, it was to continuously get stronger, to build the power Jordan needed to fight past the physically punishing defense of teams like the Detroit Pistons. They did something different because they knew how to think, not just what to think. This is a crucial distinction. Your education, your coaches, your bosses, they often teach you what to think. They give you the textbook, the playbook, the company procedure. And you can be very good by following the rules. But what happens when the unexpected occurs? What happens when the playbook doesn't have the answer? Life experience, Grover argues, teaches you how to think. It allows you to innovate, to see possibilities where others see a box. When you know how to think, you're ready to win. This curiosity and willingness to be different was a hallmark of the greats. Kobe would call Michael in the middle of the night, not just to chat, but to pick his brain, asking relentless questions, searching for any tiny detail that could make him 0.0001% better. They weren't afraid to be different. They weren't afraid to be seen as obsessed. This obsession leads directly to the second battlefield, the one that determines everything. As Grover puts it, winning wages war on the battlefield in your mind. This is where the real fight happens. Your mind never stops. When you're chasing something great, you spend every night sleeping with the enemy. And that enemy is you. It's the voice that knows all your weaknesses, all your fears, and uses them against you. The battlefield is littered with explosives. Bombs labeled, "You can't win." "You look ridiculous." "This is going to cost too much." But there are also dangerously kind bombs. "You should take the day off. You've already won. Relax." Winners, Grover says, learn to detect and defuse these bombs before they go off. They don't get sidetracked by the chaos in their own heads. How do they do this? Through routines. But not the kind of routines that keep you comfortable. The kind of routines that create freedom. Michael Jordan's pregame routine was a work of art and discipline. From the time of his workout, to the car he drove, to the way he laced up a fresh pair of sneakers before every single game, a ritual that took him back to the feeling of being a kid with new shoes. Everything was designed to eliminate variables. It was planned and coordinated so that his mind was free from clutter. When the game started, with all its unpredictability, he wasn't battling himself. He was only battling the opponent. His fundamentals were so deeply ingrained that he never had to think about them. He would start every practice with a simple chest pass. The greatest player in the world, working on the most basic skill. Why? Because mastering the fundamentals allowed him to operate on a higher level when it mattered. He knew exactly where to position himself on the court to make his opponents' lives hell. This mental control is essential, because winning will demand everything from you. And to give it everything, you have to be willing to make a terrifying bet. This brings us to another of Grover's principles. Winning is the ultimate gamble on yourself. Confidence, he explains, is the ultimate drug, and winning is the dealer. It's the cure for doubt and insecurity. But you can't get a prescription for it. You can't buy it. You have to feel it deep in your gut. We're all born with it. A baby learning to walk falls down, gets up, falls down, cries, gets up again. At no point does that baby decide, well, I guess walking isn't for me. Kids sing and dance and wear mismatched clothes with superhero capes because it feels right. They are supremely confident. Until the adults get involved. You can't wear that. Stop singing. Be careful. Slowly, that natural confidence gets chipped away by criticism and fear. Every great winner can point to a moment of humiliation that forced them to make a choice: lose or win. For Michael Jordan, it was being cut from his high school basketball team. For Tom Brady, it was being the 199th pick in the NFL draft. For Kobe, it was shooting 4 air balls in a crucial playoff game as a rookie. These moments don't break a winner. They forge them. They learn that confidence isn't about never failing, it's about knowing you can recover from failure. It's about being in the worst possible situation and believing, deep in your soul, I will get out of this. Grover makes a distinction between MJ and Kobe. He says, Kobe worked harder. MJ worked smarter. Kobe was insatiable. He would watch game film for hours, breaking down every single frame. He'd be in the gym at 3 a.m. because he couldn't rest until he mastered a shot he missed. His work ethic was relentless. Michael, on the other hand, processed things so quickly he didn't need to study as long. His mind was an infinite library of plays and reactions. He knew when to work, but he also knew when to stop. He knew sleep was part of his training. He was brutally efficient. But what they both shared was an unshakable, unyielding belief in themselves. They were willing to bet everything on their own ability to deliver. When the Chicago Bulls management asked Michael to get on a call to recruit a player named Sam Bowie, everyone made their pitch about why he should join the team. When it was MJ's turn, he just said, Sam, you coming or not? We're winning with or without you. That's the kind of confidence that winning demands. It's a confidence that forces you to prioritize your mind over your emotions. This leads to one of Grover's most controversial ideas. Winning isn't heartless, but you'll use your heart less. He shares a quote from Kobe, I'm not here to be a great teammate. I'm here to help you win championships. And he recalls how MJ's teammates would describe him as an asshole or a jerk, but in the same breath, call him a hell of a teammate. Why? Because he made them all winners. Grover's formula is simple: mind feelings. The mind of a champion is about control. The more you focus on the end result, the less you allow your feelings to dictate your actions. When you're giving everything you have to a goal, it's hard to tolerate anyone around you who isn't doing the same. You become harder, colder. You stop caring about what other people think. This isn't about being a robot, it's about not letting emotional volatility derail you during competition. Grover tells coaches to stop telling their teams to play with emotion. Emotions are unpredictable. One minute you're joyful, the next you're angry or scared. You don't want that in a high-pressure game. You want them to play with energy, with focus, with intensity. Those are states of mental power, not feelings. After the game, when you've won or lost, there's plenty of time for emotion. But during the battle, the only thing you should feel is total control. This intense focus on the goal above all else often leads to an uncomfortable reality, which is another of Grover's core tenets: winning wants all of you, there is no balance. So many of us chase this idea of a perfectly balanced life. A little bit for work, a little for family, a little for health, a little for hobbies. Grover says that for those committed to the highest levels of success, this is a fantasy. He shares a heart-wrenching story. His daughter, when she was just 5 years old, saw him packing for yet another long road trip. She asked him, "Daddy, why do you have to travel so much?" He explained it was how he took care of the family. She thought for a moment and then said words that he says stung him harder than anything ever has: "If I eat less, can you stay home more?" In that moment, he felt the immense weight of his choices. But he kept packing. He explains that when you're driven by an obsession, when you're chasing something that requires all your time and all your focus, you cannot achieve balance in all areas of your life at the same time. Something has to give. And pretending you can have it all at once leads to feeling overwhelmed and failing at everything. The solution isn't to add more to your plate. It's to master the art of number. It's to develop what he calls the IDGAF muscle, the I don't give a F muscle. This is the internal strength you use to make critical decisions about your priorities, to shut out the noise of other people's expectations, and to stay focused on your mission. It's not about being angry or emotional. It's about making a calm, rational decision about what truly matters and what is just clutter. He paints a picture of a scale. On one side, you place winning, all your goals and ambitions. On the other, everything else: family, friends, hobbies. If you achieve perfect balance, what's the number on that scale? 0. You've balanced yourself right out of the race. To excel, the winning side of the scale must be heavier. Your job isn't to balance it, but to manage the imbalance, so you don't crash. This idea of prioritizing your own goals so intensely brings us to the next, closely related principle: winning is selfish. The word selfish usually has a negative connotation. But Grover asks us to reconsider it. He tells the story of Scottie Pippen delaying ankle surgery at the start of the Bulls' last dance season because he was unhappy with his contract. Michael Jordan called the decision selfish, but Pippen's teammates understood his frustration. He was one of the most underpaid superstars in the league. Was Pippen selfish? Was Jordan selfish for calling him out? Grover's answer is that it doesn't matter. Winning requires selfishness. It requires you to put your needs and your goals first. He makes a critical distinction, however, between a selfish winner and a selfish loser. A selfish loser takes from everyone and gives back to no one, not even themselves. A selfish winner, on the other hand, gives to themselves so they can ultimately give to others. Their success lifts everyone around them. They put themselves first not out of vanity, but out of necessity. This selfishness is what allows you to separate yourself from the pack. Separation is about creating distance between where you are and where you want to be. It's about moving away from average, from normal. It's freedom. When you've earned separation, you no longer have a lane. The whole road belongs to you. But this road is not an easy one. In fact, Grover says, winning takes you through hell. And if you quit, that's where you'll stay. The journey to the top is not a one-way trip to paradise. It's a constant cycle. You start in hell, the place of hard work, sacrifice, and doubt. You fight your way to paradise? The moment of victory. But winning doesn't let you stay there. It meets you at the parade, celebrates with you, and then puts you on a bus right back to hell to do it all over again. Every new season, every new project, every new goal starts at the bottom. The return to hell is what builds resilience. The first trip is terrifying. But after you've made the journey again and again, you barely feel the heat. You become tougher, harder, more scarred. This is your power. Michael Jordan knew this better than anyone. After the Bulls lost in the 1995 playoffs upon his return from baseball, he didn't take the summer off. The very next day, he was back in the gym with Grover. It was time to get out of hell. This journey through hell reveals your deepest secrets, and that's where your greatest power lies. Because, as Grover reveals, winning knows all your secrets. He describes waking up every night between 2 o'clock and 4 a.m., surrounded by voices. The skeletons in the closet. The monsters under the bed. His fears, his insecurities, his doubts. Most people are terrified of these voices and try to ignore them. Winners, he says, crave that time alone in the dark. They have conversations with their demons. They don't hide from their flaws, they embrace them. This is the source of what he calls the dark side. Your dark side is that raw, untamed part of you that refuses to be ordinary. It's your killer instinct. It's not evil, it's fuel. It's the anger from being cut from the team, the sting of being underestimated, the pain of a past failure. It's an addiction as powerful as your addiction to success. Kobe Bryant personified this. He created an entire alter ego, the Black Mamba, to tap into his dark side on the court. It was a place he could go mentally to be a different animal, a cold-blooded assassin. The dark side, when controlled, is your greatest weapon. It's what gives you the power to endure hell. But the journey is not just a test of endurance, it's a test of intelligence and adaptability. Because winning is a test with no correct answers. Life is not a multiple-choice exam where you can study the textbook and know the right response. Fear is a constant companion on this test. Grover says that anyone who claims they have no fear is either lying or their challenges aren't big enough. Fear is instinctive. It heightens your awareness and jolts you into action. The danger isn't fear, it's doubt. Fear shows up on its own. Doubt has to be invited in. Fear is about the external threat, the opponent, the challenge. Doubt is about you. Fear says, I can do this. Doubt says, I'm screwed. Resilience is what separates fear from doubt. Resilience is the ability to see everything that can go wrong and still take control of what can go right. It's what allows you to survive failure. And you will fail. Winning and losing are partners. You can't have one without the other. Your commitment isn't to never lose, it's to recover from a loss as quickly as possible. The truths of winning are often harsh, which is why the next principle is so important. Winning never lies. In a world full of fake it till you make it advice, winning is the ultimate reality check. It doesn't care about your excuses or your image. Did you get the result? Yes or no? The score is the score. The number on the balance sheet is the number. All the hard work in the world means nothing without the result. This is why showing up is so critical. Not just physically being there, but being mentally engaged, ready to perform, leaving the excuses behind. Winning shows up every day, ready to play. Your only obligation is to meet it there. This constant demand for performance can feel overwhelming, which is why so many people adopt a certain mindset to cope. But it's often the wrong one. This brings us to a maxim Grover wants to completely destroy. It's a marathon, not a sprint. No, he says. Winning is not a marathon, it's a sprint with no finish line. The marathon mindset is an excuse to go slow, to pace yourself, to procrastinate. It says, I have plenty of time, but you don't. While you're jogging your marathon, someone else is sprinting past you, grabbing the prize you wanted. Kobe sprinted through life. He had no hobbies. He didn't play golf. He didn't hang out. He trained, he practiced, he studied, and he spent time with his family. His entire life was a sprint, focused on the result, not the clock. He famously said, "Rest at the end, not in the middle." This is the difference between focusing on time and focusing on the work. Time counts down. 3, 2, 1. It creates pressure and anxiety. Focus counts up. 1, 2, 3. It's about what you can still accomplish. It directs all your energy to the result. For winners, every day is a sprint. Every moment is a sprint. And the sprint never ends. So, if winning is all of these things, unforgiving, selfish, a battle in your mind, a journey through hell, a constant sprint, what is it, in the end? What is the final, ultimate truth? Grover's last principle is the one that ties it all together. Winning is everything. It's not just a part of life. For those who truly chase it, it consumes all the other parts. It's the framework that supports hard work, leadership, and teamwork. You can't be a great leader if you don't understand the brutal reality of what it takes to win. The biggest mistake we make, he repeats, is thinking we have time. The one fear that all great winners share isn't the fear of losing. They can recover from a loss. Their greatest fear is running out of time before they've accomplished everything they dreamed of. Before they finish their life's work. Winning is a magnificent, addictive, beautiful, and terrible thing. It will demand everything from you. Your time, your focus, your relationships, your sanity. It will cost you everything. But if you are willing to pay the price, if you are willing to embrace its unforgiving nature, it will reward you with more than you can possibly imagine. Commentary. As we reflect on Tim Grover's powerful and unsettling message, it's clear that winning is not a book for everyone. It's not designed to make you feel comfortable. It's designed to make you honest. For a young person today, navigating a world that often prizes participation trophies over actual victory, this book is like a blast of ice-cold water. It's shocking, but it wakes you up. The most profound lesson here is the reframing of what it means to be a winner. We're often sold a sanitized version of success, a highlight reel of triumphant moments. Grover rips that curtain down and shows us the bloody, sweaty, lonely reality behind the scenes. He gives us permission to acknowledge the dark side of ambition, the selfishness, the imbalance, the obsession, not as character flaws to be ashamed of, but as necessary fuel for the journey. This is particularly relevant today. The pressure to present a perfect, balanced life on social media is immense. We're supposed to be crushing it at work, spending quality time with family, staying fit, traveling, and maintaining a vibrant social life, all at the same time. Grover's philosophy is a powerful antidote to this impossible standard. He tells us to stop chasing balance and start chasing a result. To pick the one thing that matters most and to have the courage to let other things wait. It's a message of focus in an age of distraction. So, how can you apply these intense principles to your own life without becoming a tyrant? First, start by speaking the language of winning to yourself. Be honest about your results. When you fall short of a goal, don't make excuses. Acknowledge the truth. The score is the score. This isn't about beating yourself up, it's about respecting yourself enough to be real. Honesty is the first step toward improvement. Second, identify the battlefield in your mind. What are the negative thoughts, the doubts, the fears that hold you back? Give them a name. Acknowledge them. Don't fight them, but don't surrender to them either. As Kobe said, you embrace them. You understand they are part of the process, and then you focus on the actions you can control. Create a small, disciplined routine, like Jordan's chest pass, that quiets the noise and grounds you in the fundamentals. And finally, dare to be a little selfish. Pick one important goal, something just for you. For the next week, make it a non-negotiable priority. This might mean saying no to something or someone. It might feel uncomfortable. But it's an exercise in flexing that IDGAF muscle. It's a way to practice putting your own dreams first, not because you don't care about others, but because you understand that to give your best to the world, you must first give your best to yourself. That was a deep dive into winning by Tim Grover. We've explored the core ideas today, but a summary is like looking at a photograph of a mountain. It can show you the peak, but it can never replicate the feeling of the climb, the cold air in your lungs, the burn in your legs, the quiet determination that pushes you forward one step at a time. The real power of this book is in the stories, the raw intensity of the language, and the way it challenges you on a deeply personal level. If anything we've discussed today has sparked something within you, if it has made you question what you thought you knew about success, then I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning. It's an experience that might just change the way you see your own unforgiving race to greatness. Also, if you found this summary valuable and it gave you a new perspective, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep growing together.